The fourth lecture for English 101. We are going to have a quiz over this lecture tomorrow, okay, on Friday. I'll put it up sometime today probably and just go ahead and open it. But you have one day to do the quiz tomorrow. Excuse me, I've got a little allergy this morning. I'm going to talk about the articles, and I'm going to assign another article for you today. And then I'm going to talk about the papers in a minute. I have not graded them yet. They'll be graded next week. When you're reading always the NPR, this I believe, I hope that you will get on NPR. Just type NPR into your search engine and look up the This I Believe articles. This I Believe it was a thing that they did several years ago where anybody could write in. So they're very famous people. One of the ones I love is Muhammad Ali. He has This I Believe, and as you know, he passed away last year, and he was from Louisville, Kentucky. So get on there and read about Muhammad Ali. There are many, many other This I Believe, and they're not, generally speaking, religious. I don't know if there are any that are. I've not read a really religious one, but I've read a lot of them. Amy Tan has one on there. They're very interesting, and many, many of them are written by just average people like you and I, like you and me, and they're interesting about the ways that we live our lives and show that we're human. And anyway, always go to the funeral is one that is on the quiz next week. There'll be a quiz over the readings next week. So think about what her father said to her. Many of his sayings, you can't go in without going out. And I think one of the things, the big picture that we get, and I'm not going to tell you everything that's in the article, but these are very short articles. Read them more than one time, please, before you take the quiz. Mark some things. As you can see, I hope you can see, I used highlighter and then I've written on it with a pencil. Pay some attention to what we're doing. Anyway, the bigger picture is that she says to us, Deidre Sullivan says to us, that most of the time our choices aren't between good and evil. Our choices are between doing the right thing and not doing anything at all. My real battle is doing good versus doing nothing. So get up and go to the visitation or the funeral on a Wednesday afternoon. Now, one of the things that is going to be on the test, on the quiz, is definitions of words. And what does it take nowadays to look up a word? I'm trying to find it. This, a cell phone. When I was in school, you had to go actually get a dictionary. Look something up in the dictionary. I have my mother's dictionary. I have the dictionary I had in college right here. You don't even need it. You just type it into the search engine on your cell phone. So look up the words. They're going to be on the test. If you don't know a word, look it up. And I don't make you do that just because I like to give tests, but because if you learn to do that and do that consistently, you will improve your intelligence, your IQ. And IQ is not a stable thing. The more words you look up, the smarter you get. I'm a little preachy this morning, so you all just have to deal with it. I was looking for an article about diversity because of the current political climate. And this one I found, America's Beauty is in its diversity. So make sure you read that. I don't think it's complicated at all. But again, you have to know what a hijab is. and I can't always pronounce the words, but I know what they mean. And then we have the Cool to the Pizza Dude, which is just one of my favorite articles in the world. It's about the importance of work, any work, of empathy. And she says that coolness to the pizza dude is a practice in equality. And the thing that makes us human is the kindness in our hearts. And it starts with the pizza dude. So read this article and enjoy it. The pizza dude sleeps the sleep of the just. And I love her expression in the great pizza wheel of life. Sometimes you're the bubbly cheese, and sometimes you're the burnt crust. They're wonderful, wonderful sayings in these articles. Now, I'm adding this article, and I will send you the where you can click on and get this article, but you can type it in if you want to. This is for next week. It's not on the, it will be on the quiz. It will be added to the essays that we've read. Okay, this is for next week. These articles are very short. Now you've got one that's a little bit longer. It's called How 1,600 People Went Missing from Our Public Lands Without a Trace. And it's been written by a man named John Billman. I will send it to you. It's a fascinating story. The more we read, the better we write. Okay? And this semester, I feel that I have fallen down a little because the MLA book, I think, is absolutely useless. And so you don't have to read any more in the MLA book. Okay? Now, the place to look things up, and we're talking about the papers now, second part of the lecture. The place to look things up is on OWL, O-W-L. Just type it into your search engine. The Online Writing Lab at Purdue University will come up. Then you look at the left-hand side of the page that comes up and look for the MLA at the bottom of the table of contents. Click on the MLA and everything is right there. And then you have another table of contents and you can look up anything. How to do a website, how to do a works cited page. All of those things are right there and much easier to find than in the MLA book. Now, I want to talk about the papers. I haven't graded them yet. I may do another lecture next week, but I have read a lot of them. And I want to tell you what I think you need to do, because paper 3 cannot be rewritten. So if you send me a paper that is not acceptable, it will be a 0, and it will affect your grade horribly. Now, on paper 2, you can rewrite. You can rewrite. So you will have time to do that. We've got a month. You will have time to do that. I'll get it back to you as quickly as I can next week. But paper 3, you can't rewrite. So what would be some helps for you? All right, here they are. Get out the sample paper and check the examples. This time I got papers with no heading, no title, nothing. I gave them a 0. If it doesn't look like it's supposed to look, why should I bother reading it? I got papers that were single-spaced. Nothing in MLA is single-spaced. I keep telling you over and over again, you don't have to memorize anything. But if you write a paper and you look at the sample paper and then look at your paper, you can do it with 2 frames on your computer. You don't have to print things out. I like it printed out. It's easier for me to read, but you may not. So pull up a second screen. Check it against a sample paper. There are plenty of them there. There's one on OWL. There's one that I sent you. You can pull up a sample works cited page on OWL, or I sent you one. I'm not sure the one I sent you is up to date, but I sent you examples on a sheet. And you can look at that and see, well, there's nothing there that's single-spaced. Why would you turn in a single-spaced paper if you checked it? Now, I really think that's one of the things you should memorize by now, but you don't have to memorize anything. Check it. Check the works cited page. I have a paper here that I'm going to send back Monday where I am just used to death. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. No, that's preaching. Do not use you, Y-O-U, in a paper. The only exception is if it's a direct quotation. So you interview someone and they use the word you. If you quote them directly, you can use you, but no other time. No other time. Please, don't make it hard on yourself. Okay, check that. Check the terrible word list. I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to mark it every time. Check your examples. Now, please do not use databases. I've asked this before, and I'm putting it up on my syllabus for next semester. The reason I do that is because I want you to learn to find things, because that is something you will have to do the rest of your life. Find materials. Find information. Find the directions. Find out what's going on. And one of the things, there's an old saying that education is what you've got left when you've forgotten everything you learned in college. And that may be true. One thing I want you to learn from this course is to follow the directions. Follow the directions. It's such a simple thing to do if you'll just do it. I often tell the story of my son putting up a ceiling fan and light in the first house that he and my daughter-in-law owned together. And, owned, period. And all I can do then, he's saying, 3 hours later, everything's spread all over the place, and it's a mess. So my daughter-in-law grabbed the directions and said, do this, and followed everything exactly. In a half hour, it was up and working. Follow the directions. It is just so easy to sit down and start writing a paper and not look at anything that I've sent you, any samples, any OWL, any paper. Just sit down and start writing. It's like getting in your car and starting to drive to Chicago without figuring whether it's north or south. Follow the directions. Use the maps I've sent you. Okay, no databases. And don't use the terms pro and con. I know you're using a database when you do that. Leave them out. They're going on the terrible word list this year. I've been pro and con to death too. No single spacing, no you. Get your margins correct. The margin should not go all the way over to the paper. Now, our computers here on the campus have a 1-inch margin. That's the typical thing. I don't know why yours don't, but you need to fix it. Get your margins correct. Get your hanging indent correct. Use double spacing throughout. Don't use triple spacing some places. Double spacing throughout. Okay? Check your margins. And this one is not personal, although it is a little, it's 50% personal. For goodness sakes, learn how to spell my name. You've been in my class 2 months, January, February, and March, almost 3 months. And half the people are calling me Miss Dr. Boone or Ms. Boone. I'm not Ms., I'm not Mrs., I'm Doctor. This is a college. You want to go to college, you got to learn to use the correct nomenclature. I've been called Bones this time, and I can't remember one other name I was called, but I thought, gee, after 3 months, you ought to know the name of your teacher. Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? Okay. Now, the last thing, this kind of breaks my heart, and this is another thing you ought to take away from this, and from this course, and something you ought to learn in English 101 and every other course you take, and that is to check your work. Don't write down 2 and 2, 2 plus 2 equals 7, and not go back and see that you made a mistake. Check your work. This is driving me crazy. One of the reasons I haven't graded papers this week, I told my own campus classes, so I'll tell you, there have been several aggravations, and I don't grade papers when I'm already upset or angry or aggravated is the word I wanted, because I think I'm unfair to students if I go to the papers aggravated. Now, I just want to read one thing to you. This is not from a page. I don't give any names, and you can't tell from this who wrote it. But here is an actual line in one of the papers that was turned in this class. Mining operations have helped improve habitat for wildlife in Kentucky. This person thinks that's false. But what many sheep fail to realize is the pure devastation that comes with mountaintop removal. Let me read this again. But what many sheep fail to recognize is the pure devastation that comes with mountaintop removal. Now, this person probably is doing a good job. I don't know. I haven't graded the paper. But she didn't go back, or he didn't go back and check that he was writing about sheep. What does that have to do? It's a mistake. It's a typing mistake. It's a computer mistake. And your spell check's not going to catch that you wrote sheep instead of what? I assume people. I don't know what this person meant. Go back and read your paper. Proofread. Check it. Get someone to read it for you and see if you've made mistakes. Fix it. There's an old Tom Hanks movie about there's a big slobby dog in it. But he can't figure something out. He's a detective. And he wakes up one morning and starts cooking breakfast or something. And all of a sudden, like that, it comes to him. Because his mind has been mulling over it. His subconscious mind. I do crossword puzzles. I grew up with my mom doing them, and I do them. And lots of times if I can't get the word, I don't look it up on my phone because I want to make my mind work. I want to say as reasonably sane as I am as long as I can. So I'd go do something else. I cook something. I go to a movie. I go walk around the walking trail. And you'd be surprised. I'll come back and sit down, pick up the crossword puzzle, and there the word is. It's the right word. It was in my head. My subconscious mind did it for me. It cost me nothing. Zero effort. Just go away and do something else. Writing is the same way. I write things and I go back and look at them right then. Then I put them away or go do something else, save it till tomorrow, and then I come back to it with a fresh mind. If you send me your first draft, it's your rough draft, and it sure is rough, and you're going to end up with all those mistakes. Do your work, not just for this course, but for all courses ahead of time. Then let them rest and go back to them, and you will do a better job. I've gone to preaching a little bit, but I think it's preaching that needs to be done if you're going to do well in your college courses. And I wanted to say one more thing about your college course, because English 101 is an introductory course. Everybody has to take it their freshman year, right? So maybe you could learn some lessons from it besides just writing lessons. I've had students this morning writing me. I answer my emails first thing. And one of the big problems is students will say, how can I get more points? How can I do something extra? And I go back and look at their record, and they have not done all of the assignments. And if you haven't done an online course before, I've been teaching them for years. I much prefer on campus, but that's all right. I will do the online. I know it's convenient for students. I think it's harder for students, by the way. But I've been doing them for years. If you don't do all the assignments, your grade is going to be lower. Because I can't grade something you don't send me. I can't give you points if you didn't take the test. And I guarantee that the students who flunk online courses at this college, across the board in every subject this semester, the majority of them, I'm guessing 96% of them, didn't do all the work. So maybe I'm saying it too late. I'm going to put it in my first lecture for next semester. But you have to do every exercise, because not doing it means you're starting out with a 0. You're starting out with a 0. When I average up the scores, there's going to be a 0 there, and it will hurt. Okay, now let's talk about the rest of the semester, and then I'll get off. Get off the phone, as I sometimes say. We've got an extra essay to read for next week, plus the ones on our assignment sheet. And I'm going to send the link. I finally remembered the word link. I'm going to send the link to you right today. Then we are going to have a quiz next week over those, and the new one and the ones that have been assigned in week 11 and week 12. Then April the 10th through the 14th, I'm going to assign paper 3. I may assign it next week, but I'm going to assign paper 3 by the 10th of April. Okay, and then you have 2 weeks to do it. Then we're going to be reading the rest of Stephen King on week 15, when the paper is due. That's the 24th through the 28th. You are going to watch Bridge of Spies with Tom Hanks. Bridge of Spies is based on a true story. I think it's wonderful, and it's easy to find. Now, you are responsible for finding that movie. I'm going to look for as much as I can do online, see what is out there. Sometimes the whole movie will be there. I know it's on Netflix. So you can find Bridge of Spies with Tom Hanks. Check your library. Ask them to get it for you. I'll make sure our library has it right today. Okay? And then that's pretty much it. I don't know if we're going to have a lecture 5, but I do know. We are going to have a lecture 5, which will be done April the 24th through the 28th. And that lecture will be over the Stephen King book to help you with the final exam, which is the last thing that we do. Okay? Please get to writing. You can rewrite paper 2. I'm going to send it to you next week. If you've already gotten a 0 on Blackboard, and some of them were single-spaced, and I say I'm not reading it, you can send me your second copy, your second addition by email. But for goodness sakes, you don't want to lose those 200 points, okay? And I will send the others, and you can rewrite those. But paper 3 cannot be rewritten. Give it some work. Folks, let me say this, like I say, and I'm going to say it again in the last lecture. There's one more month. There's one more month of school. If you stop now, as we have students do every semester, you will have wasted all this time. So get to work. Put the pedal to the metal, and let's finish this course. Everybody has to take English 101. Let's get it out of the way, okay? All right. Use your examples. Check your examples. Check the terrible word list. Don't use the word you. Spell my name. It's bone, like a bone in your leg. And proofread, proofread, proofread. Get your margins right. Oh, have a great day.